best.
And who answered the phone was his wife. And she told his wife that she was expecting a baby from her husband. Then he called her back and he says, I am going to kill you.
Reyna Marroquín left El Salvador because she discovered her husband had a lover who was pregnant with her husband's child.
And when she saw her daughter's picture, she almost fainted.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Lavender here, and today I want to talk about the woman in the barrel found 30 years after her murder. The murder of Reyna Marroquín. Reyna Angélica Marroquín was born in 1941. She died in 1969. Here's a little background about the case. She was an El Salvador immigrant woman who was murdered in the United States in 1969. Marroquín's murder was not discovered until 1999, 30 years later after the fact, when her body was discovered in the Jericho, New York home. Here's a little background on the victim, Reyna. Reyna Angélica Marroquín immigrated from El Salvador to the New York City area in the late 1960s in hopes of finding many opportunities, because previously, before going to the United States, she was from El Salvador. She was gonna get married, but her husband had like a mistress, and this is what this case is really weird, because she went to the United States to find better opportunities, but she did the same thing that her husband did. She wanted to get married, but she went to the United States and was a side chick. Like, the guy she was with, he had a whole wife, and she knew he had a wife, and she was the mistress, and she wanted him to leave his wife for her and their child that they were going to have. Before her death, she was said to have taken English and job training courses. She was determined to succeed in her new life in America. So again, she left El Salvador because her husband had a mistress, and then she goes to the United States and is the mistress. That's just weird. Anyways, here we go. On September 2nd, 1999, an old 55-gallon drum in the crawl space of a house in Jericho, Nassau County, New York, was found to contain the mummified remains of a pregnant Hispanic woman in her late 20s. She was between 4'9" and 5 feet tall, with unusual dental work that is mostly seen outside the United States and South American countries. The cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. She was hit in the back of the head 10 times with a blunt object, such as a hammer. Was probably the likely murder weapon is a hammer. The drum also contained plastic green pellets. She had a locket inscribed "To Patrice, Love Uncle Phil," and an address book in the bottom of the barrel of the drum. The drum had been made in 1965 for transporting dye. It had been shipped to Melrose Plastics, a synthetic flower company partially owned by Howard B. Elkins, a local businessman who owned the Jericho house the barrel was found under. This was until 1972, when he sold the company and moved to Boca Raton, Florida with his wife. Under in fractured light, some of the deteriorated address book that was found in the barrel in the book was legible. A permanent residence card written on the first page belonged to Reyna Angélica Marroquín, a 28-year-old immigrant from El Salvador. A phone number in the book belonged to Kathy Andrade, who had been a friend of sorry, I keep mispronouncing names. I'm not good at names. Marroquín. When contacted, Andre told the police that Marroquín had been having an affair with the Elkins, but had called Andre to say she had become afraid of him after telling Elkins' wife about her baby and how she was pregnant and how she was having an affair with her husband. Andre went to Marroquín's apartment but found it was empty, and Marroquín was never heard from or seen again. Detectives who interviewed Elkins found him to be uncooperative and lying the whole entire time. They told him they intended to get his DNA and get a warrant for that and compare it with the fetus. The next day, September 10, 1999, Elkins was found dead in the back seat of his car in a neighbor's garage from a self-inflicted gunshot wound from a 12-gauge shotgun he purchased at a Walmart store. Later, the DNA testing found that Elkins was the father of the fetus and the baby. Investigators believe Elkins lured her to the factory and killed her by hitting her over the head with a blunt object such as a hammer. He then took her body to his house, possibly with the intention of dumping her body in the ocean from his boat. But after filling the barrel with plastic pellets to ensure it would sink, it weighed over 350 pounds. He found he was unable to lift it up because it was way too heavy to move, and he left it in the crawl space for the entire time. Writer Oscar Correll went to San Martin, El Salvador, while Marroquín's 95-year-old mother told him that she had a dream about her daughter trapped inside a barrel. Marroquín was buried in El Salvador. Her mother died a month later and was buried right next to her. There have been actually a number of TV medias and TV shows and TV crime documentaries, true crime documentaries, about this case because it is so out there and different. The murder provided a part of a 2004 episode called Broken Trust in the series called The New Detectives. There was another case, true crime case, documentary. The investigation into a murder was covered in Flower Drum Murder, a 2015 episode of Murder Book, a true crime television series. The case was depicted in A Voice from Beyond, a 2000 episode of the true crime series Files. The murder was dramatized in the investigation discovery series Grave Secrets, season 2, episode 1, and an episode entitled Beneath the Stairs. And yet another documentary of the case was in an episode called Lady in the Barrel in Auction's hit series Buried in the Backyard. If you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys, see you next video.